All right, Dr. WJ here, and today I want to talk about my favorite routine. Now, first of all, I want to say routine is kind of a bad word in any kind of weight training because you don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. That is, generally speaking, a recipe for not continuing to make gains. But if we think of this as sort of like a constitution, and then the actual workouts as like the statutes, it might make a little more sense to you. But this is definitely my favorite routine. I've been pretty much sticking to this for about 40 years, and I'm 56, basically 56 and a half. Hey. And I feel like it works because, let's just go over it and you'll see why. So we got Monday, chest, Tuesday, back, Wednesday, legs, Thursday, shoulders and arms. And then you see I have plus cardio with question marks there. We'll talk about that. Abs can be trained every day. Obviously, if you eat like I do, you're not going to see the abs as well as if you have a really strict diet, but it is what it is. All right, why do I like this? And first thing I want to say is if you prefer, you can switch back and chest, okay? So back can be Monday, chest can be Tuesday. That part doesn't really matter, but this is why I do this. Most of us guys, chest is our favorite thing to train. I don't know why, it just is. We love doing our bench presses. Seems like some of us would love to do it 7 days a week if we could, just bench, 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 bench. But anyway, Monday, you're coming off the weekend. You've probably gone back to work or back to school. You know, I don't know why, but people just tend to think of Mondays as kind of, Then you get to the gym and you're training your favorite body part. So it's like it kind of brings you back up. And so you're training your chest, you're doing your benches. I like to use dumbbells some weeks, barbell some weeks. Some of the machines are okay, but I'm not a big fan of the machines. I tend to like the free weights the best, other than obviously cable crossovers. That pretty much has to be a machine. When you're training chest, most of the exercises are pushing movements. Right, so you're going to get some indirect triceps, okay? It is what it is. Obviously, some of the closer grip bench presses are going to hit the triceps harder. At least it seems like it does. But obviously, it's inevitable. You're going to train some deltoid, you're going to train some tricep when you're doing chest, okay? Which is why we've got time before we hit shoulders and arms. Same thing with back. Back is pulling movements, rowing, pull downs. I also consider traps, so like shrugs or upright rows, as part of back day. Moving on to Wednesday, legs. Okay, Wednesday's hump day. I don't know why, but mentally a lot of people just kind of like, oh, it's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. They're kind of in their groove now. Throw in legs. Legs is typically the hardest body part to train. It takes the most out of you if you're doing it right. If you're skipping leg day, you're really missing out. But anyway, you get in those 5 or 10 sets of really good squats. You're getting a lot of reps in. You're out of breath at the end of each set. Your legs feel like they're on fire. Those take a lot out of you. For some reason, doing it on Wednesday seems to work. I know some of you are going to say, well, why not Monday? Well, it doesn't work in this order, and you'll see why here in a minute. But so legs Wednesday. Thursday, shoulders and arms. Okay, why this order works is because, like I said, you had some triceps and shoulders here, some biceps and shoulders here. You've now had a full day's rest before you're training them again. The general thought is don't train the same body part 2 days in a row. Give it time to rest and recover. I've just always gone with that. It seems to work, okay? Now, yes, there are going to be some variances in your workout where sometimes sort of purposely, we'll call it overtraining a body part, might kick it into more growth. So there might be times when you purposely are going to train the same muscle group more than once in a row. But just like I said, it's kind of like your constitution. This works. Okay, plus cardio, plus cardio, plus cardio, question mark. Okay, here's the thing. I think of cardio as kind of like leg training, right? So that's why there's no cardio here, there's no cardio here, because we've got legs there that we don't want to like I said, normally train them twice in a row. So you might do light cardio here, and more intense cardio here, or here. Or some of you might be able to do cardio every day. Not my cup of tea, I don't like it, but you can hypothetically do it. Same thing with abs, you can train abs pretty much every day. Again, I'm gonna recommend that maybe you train like crunches one day, side bends one day, knee raises one day, so you're training different parts of your abs every day rather than just going crunches, or sit-ups, or whatever. The next thing you can do within these is, it used to be called the Weider priority principle, and basically that is train your weakest part first in the workout, because that's when you typically have the most energy. So for example, if your upper chest is lagging behind your middle chest, maybe you start with incline bench presses to work that upper chest, and then move into your flat benches and so forth. With back, you might feel like thickness is your weakness, or width is your weakness, or maybe traps is your weakness. Train that first. So kind of the conventional theory is thickness is done by rowing movements, width is done by pull down type movements. Again, there's no way to really prove that. I feel like it all sort of trains the back, but go with it, see if that works for you. Or like I said, if you feel like your traps are your weak, start with that first. Do your shrugs, and then move into your rowing and pull downs. Legs, you got a lot of options here. If your calves are lagging, do those first. If your hamstrings are lagging, do those first. If your quads are lagging, do those first. If you're trying to work on building up your squat or building up your deadlift, do that first, etc. Just common sense stuff. Same thing with shoulders and arms. You got 3 choices there. You can do deltoids first, biceps first, triceps first. Do your second weakest one second, and then your strongest one last in the workout. And obviously, as time goes on, your strongest may change. You know, I've gone through phases where my delts are kind of weak, and then I start training them really hard, and I start seeing kind of that separation and kind of like a movement in them when you're moving around. Obviously, left bicep is gone, so it's terrible. Triceps are pretty even, although I feel like the right one's a little bit bigger, but definitely the biceps, there's a noticeable difference because of the tear. Anyway, that's my favorite routine, if we're going to use that term. Again, I don't like to do a strict routine. I like to mix all of these exercises up, but basically stick to this fundamental workout order week after week. And of course I do change up sometimes where I might do like upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body. But by and large, I always seem to come back to this. And the bulk of my workouts over 40 years have followed this pattern, and they seem to just work. Hope that's helpful. Stay strong.